So today, I'm going to talk about how a barn cat, just like you guys, a barn cat, although you guys come in and snuggle sometimes too, so you're a little bit, you live a cushy barn cat life. Today we're going to talk about how a barn cat helped save me. Hey now, and welcome back to Sweetwater Diaries. So today I want to do a little bit of a story time for you. We were sitting out in the field, we went for a little walk. So we're going to do a bit of a story time for you here, and a little bit. It's a story about how the farm and a barn cat kind of saved me. And it's a little sad, I suppose, but really it's kind of more the point of the barn cat and how the farm helped me through, like basically got me through really devastating loss that kind of like had the potential to consume me a bit, and this barn cat had shown up a few months before everything, and I didn't know at the time, but in the end she came. She kind of helped me through what I needed to get through, and then she left, but she brought with me everything I needed to heal and grieve and just be healthy and not go into a dark place. So anyway, we'll see. I'm not sure if I'll share this or not. We'll see. But so January tends to be a harder month for me, not because of taxes, which is never fun, but it kind of brings back two big losses in my life, significant losses in my life, and one of them, which is the story really isn't about, is my dad passed away. I think, what is it, like, oh my gosh, 2012, so wow, 8 years ago, and January is his birthday. So I always it kind of makes you remember him, and you know, it's just kind of think about him a lot. You know, that he never really got to meet Ollie, and he didn't meet Nate, and I think he would have loved them and loved the farm, and just really enjoyed it, and he missed out on that. So it's just, I always kind of think about ways that I can kind of share him with Ollie, so he gets to know his grandpa that he never met. So, you know, it just kind of brings me there. And I think I kind of go through January where, you know, I'm functioning, but if I seem a little slower or delayed, it's just I'm going through the motions a lot of times in January, because, you know, there's that loss. Then there's this other loss that was pretty devastating to me. And, you know, I definitely got through it. And again, I give obviously friends and family credit, but a lot of credit I give to the farm and to this silly little bratty barn cat. Before Ollie, we were pregnant, and he would have been 4 years old this year, but we went in for our 20-week ultrasound to determine the sex of the baby, and I'll never forget it. The ultrasound tech was so lovely, but you could tell she was uncomfortable and had to ask some questions, and instantly, because I kind of knew, I won't go into it, but instantly when she asked a specific question, I just knew. I said, so I turned to her and I said, is there a heartbeat? And she was very honest and very nice, and she said no. So we lost our first child at 20 weeks pregnant, and so that's 5 months. That's halfway through the pregnancy. So I carried him for it was about a week before that they think he passed. So carried him pretty much for 5 months, and because we were at that point in the pregnancy, you know, we had to deliver, so we had to set up an appointment and deliver him, and, you know, I'd be induced, and in a way it was kind of a blessing, because I got to say goodbye to him and then hold him, and it was tangible. It was a tangible goodbye. So I'm not going to go too much into that part of things, but you know, it was pretty devastating. And we went in. You know, you go into the hospital and you're pregnant, you think you're going to be leaving with a baby, but instead we left with a box of memories that they made for us. And I think a lot of people have lost a baby in our situation will know what I'm talking about with that box. And so, you know, we have that box, and I have it there, and I look at it every so often, and you know, otherwise it gets kind of put it back on the shelf for me to look at and reminisce if I want. And so the backstory here is, before I get into all that part of things, is before we went in for the pregnancy check, it had to have been, I think my friend LL was visiting, actually. I think she was with me. We were outside. It had to have been, I want to say like September, fall-ish, around fall. And we were outside, and she had come up to visit, and it was fun to see her, and we did a bunch of stuff. And maybe I'm making that up, LL, and I'm wrong, but I feel like you were there. But we were standing outside, and we heard this big meow. And I knew at that time we had 2 cats, and I knew that those cats were in the house. It was like, what is this cat? There's a cat out here, and I don't think it's ours. It doesn't sound like ours. And I believe, again, LL was with me. I think she heard it too, and we both were like, whoa. Now, we have the dogs, we have the goats, so a lot of critters generally do not come near the house if they don't live here already, because the dogs generally don't like cats that they don't know, and they'll chase them. But this cat did not care. All of a sudden, from around the garage, she got through the fence, walked right up, rubbed up against me, and basically walked herself right to the front door and invited herself in, and in her own way made abundantly clear that she was going to be living on this farm. And we didn't really have a say in the matter. So we named her. She was a cute little white kitty with like blackish gray spots and markings. And if I find it in the picture, I'll insert it. She was super cute. And we named her BK because she was a baby kitty. She was young. So we get a lot of dumped animals around in this parts. Anyway, so she was probably dumped, but she showed up, and she wasn't a kitten, but she was young. And so we named her BK, Baby Kitty, but also because she was a bit bossy sometimes, and she was beautiful. And then on the fair occasion, she was a word that rhymes with witchy, so we felt that BK was a very good name for her. So BK, you know, she came to the farm, she kind of took over, made her known that she was going to live here, and she was kind of top dog as far as she was concerned. And so that's the backstory to little Miss BK, the barn cat who helped save me. So in the process of the months that followed, we were going to go get her fixed, and it turned out, well, she got herself pregnant before we could do that. So she and I were pregnant together for a bit. Forgive my glasses, by the way. I'm getting my eyes checked hopefully this week or next week, and I need to get new glasses because these are like 10 years old, and Ollie broke the strap. So if it looks a little wonky, this is the farmer way. We find a way to fix it till we can get something better. Where is it? Oh, so we were pregnant together around the same time. And then, like I said, in January we were excited, went in for our ultrasound, and the ultrasound technician was great, our doctor was great, and we found out there was what no parent wants to find out, and I don't wish it on anybody, is there was not a heartbeat anymore. So all of a sudden we're going in thinking and planning our future with our future child, and then we left planning a date to deliver and say goodbye. And we went through that, and the hospital was wonderful. They did a wonderful job. His name was Thomas, and like I said, he'd be 4 this year. And at the time, obviously I was devastated. Nate was devastated. But, I left, but I didn't have a baby, and I knew I didn't have a baby, but my body didn't know that. You still go through the process, and everything about my body was saying, where's the baby? I need to nurture it. And so I was really sad, and it was pretty devastating. But a month later, almost exactly, actually the day after Valentine's, so February 15th, and we said goodbye to Thomas on January 17th. So almost a month later, my baby kitty wasn't feeling so great. And normally they say cats, when they're about to give birth, they want to be left alone. So I had set up these little nests for her so she could have her babies. She wanted any part of that. She wanted to be right next to me. So then I set up a little dog cage in the living room and put blankets down and put her in the dog cage with the door open. And I just sat on the ground next to her. And again, she didn't want to be away. She was nervous and she needed me. So I laid down next to her and she came up and snuggled right by my head. And we snuggled for a bit, and then she seemed to calm down and was purring a little bit, even though she was uncomfortable. So we just kind of laid there, and we watched some TV together, and then all of a sudden, I felt her kind of pushing back on my head a little bit, and I was like, "What are you doing?" And I look up, and oh my goodness, there were kittens on the way, and it was almost happening on my head. So that wasn't really how I wanted that to work out. So I sat up and I said, "I don't mind sitting next to you, sweetie, but I don't want to be that close to the process." I stayed right next to her and I petted her, and then out popped probably 4 kittens, and we kind of waited, and she seemed like she was done, and she kind of had gotten everything going and was nursing him and doing a fabulous job. So I woke up a baby an hour later, if I really slept at all, and checked, and there was another little kitten. And then I kind of waited a bit and then went back to bed, and there was another little kitten when I checked on her again. And then after that, we were done with 6 kittens, 6 sweet darling kittens. And this is how she helped save me, because I was so sad and I didn't have any baby to nurture and just had so much love to give a little sweet baby, and my body was physically aching from just the pregnancy hormones and everything it thinks it's supposed to be doing. And there were 6 sweet little innocent babies that needed help, because she needed help. She was good, but she was young and she was nervous, so she needed help, and she wanted me to help. So I helped her, and she did a good job. And when she needed a break from them, I could watch them and I could love on them, and I put all that energy that was so built up towards taking care of those kittens. And as silly as it sounded, it really saved me. It pulled me out of a place. So instead of focusing on dwelling on this deep, intense sadness of losing a child and delivering it and having to say goodbye, I was focused on, did the kitties eat enough? Did she make sure that they went potty? Are they learning that they need to potty in the sand? Just all those type of things. And I was cuddling on them and loving on them, and it was just pretty impressive. And then when the kittens were getting old enough where they were eating and fending for herself, we got her fixed, and then not too long after that, she just disappeared again. We never saw. Usually you'll find signs if it's something tragic. So in my heart, I hope nothing tragic happened, and that she just was kind of sent to me at that time when I was going to need her the most, and she did what she needed to do, and then she went on her way again. And so wherever you are, BK, thanks, little kitty. But she left with us 6 sweet kittens, and we found homes for 3 of them. Good homes for 3 of them. And then we were going to keep 1, but then we ended up keeping 3. So there's usually something there that'll, like a sign or something that's presented to you when you need it most, if you look for it. And this little kitty, little barn cat, she just came out of nowhere, made herself home, wasn't scared of coming into our property. No. When I needed to nurture, she had 6 little babies that I could help nurture. And then I have such a special connection to these kitties, because I'll always remember that they helped me when I was so sad. But I also know that if we hadn't lost him, we wouldn't have Ollie because of the timing. So I'm so grateful for Ollie. So that's helped me not dwell. The farm, that barn kitty gave me the nurturing I need, but the farm taught me that things happen for a reason, and and that there is loss, and it's made me a little bit stronger with dealing with loss. I mean, you still get sad. I'll always grieve. I'll never stop grieving. So I'm not making this video because, oh, I've never gotten over it, because you always want to remember the person you cared about, and it's going to make you sad when you know they're not here, but it's also going to make you happy, because I have memories that make me happy about it, about the pregnancy and things like that. So I don't think that you should ever want someone to get over something. You just want them to be able to keep functioning and grow through it, and be at a place where you can remember it, but it's not going to bring you down. Honestly, the interesting part about it is when I found myself saying, you know, we have Ollie, but we lost one right before him, a large percent of people are almost do this little, like, their body unclenches for a second, and they'll share, oh, we lost one too, or oh, my sister went through that. And it's almost like I just made a safe zone for them to share that little bit of information. Sometimes they want to share more, and sometimes they don't, and that's absolutely fine with me. So yeah, it's just living on a farm. You definitely deal with life and death more. It's just the nature of things with animals. That helped me a lot too in processing this loss, and knowing that we got this wonderful little guy out of it. You know, in the end, we got this wonderful little guy. We just had to wait a little bit, and it wasn't an easy journey with him. I could go on about that. So, but he made it in the end. It was a little rough ride for both of us, but we made it, and he's strong and he's healthy, and that's wonderful. And yeah, so basically I was at a really bad place where I could have just really gone into myself, and in comes this silly little barn kitty with a little sassitude attitude. She brought to me what I needed the most, and then she left when after she gave me what I needed. So I just kind of felt like she was kind of meant to be for me at that time. I guess my message to you would be simply, if you know someone who's had loss and you're not uncomfortable, because some people just don't do well about that type of stuff, and that's fine and that's okay. But if you're not uncomfortable about loss and having a conversation, check in on them. Just ask, because I know sometimes it's like our culture is, oh, we don't talk about that stuff. But honestly, when I'm in not all the time, but more often now that as the years go by and it's easier to talk about, I just love to be able to take his memory off that out of that box in the shelf, and be able to share him and talk about him. And I think a lot of people feel that way, is that they're gone, but we don't want to not talk about them because, you know, it makes people uncomfortable. So if you're that person who doesn't mind the conversation, then ask them. And they may not want to talk about it, and that's fine too. But I pose to you that please use the comment space below. If you want to share about your child or lost loved one or lost fur baby, and you wanted someone to just hear it and you want to write about it, please write below. I'd love to learn about your special person that you've lost, or you just know that there's a safe place here if you ever want to share. And thanks for letting me share, and we'll see you next time at Sweetwater Diary.